and my colleague jumped off his horse, ate the chocolate, and within a matter of 3 hours was taken to hospital after being poisoned. I ate a little girl's bread that she had dropped, but I could see where it came from. But it was quite common in the news shortly after that our enemies were dropping poisoned sweets. It was wonderful reception we got there, because the only place that we could sleep in was between the byre and the barn. So devoted companions while we tried to sleep was the rats continuously crawling over the top of us. And that was a very nice reception, I thought, to get back to civilization. After being 3 months cut off. But on the Sunday morning I went to church at 8 o'clock and went back again on the following following day. The Marquise de Berthault very kindly sent her governess to tell me that she would like to speak to me. So when the Marquise did come along, she was very gracious and hoped that I would be well and safe, and she asked me to accept a rosary, as she had just returned from Lourdes. So I was very grateful for her kind thoughts, and I found myself very much consoled that somebody was really interested. So that the following Sunday, when the battery orders were posted, I was amazed when they read as follows: Series will parade at 9:30 a.m. Presbyterians will parade at 9:45 a.m. RCs will parade at 10 o'clock, but it's optional. Nobody was interested, apparently. But when my superior told me I would have to get up 2.5 bales of hay and 2.5 bags of chaff for the horses, I said I would be going to church. I carried out my duty, went to church and appeared in the line a quarter of an hour late for the next parade. Needless to say, there was consternation, and I was asked why I was absent on parade. I said I'd just come off parade. I was told if that happened again I could be in serious trouble. The following Sunday it did happen, because the anti-clericals of the French government had seen that every young priest was in the army as a private soldier. There was over 2,000 of them in the French forces. That meant that the poor old curé of that particular area had to supply 3 parishes. And the battery orders were faithfully posted for that particular Sunday morning, with the result that I received the same order as I received on the previous Sunday. crew killed or captured. Of 3 positions, the anti-tank gun and the first and second line of artillery. Where did the infantry get to? They must have been eliminated, because we could look across the valley at a range of 800 yards.
They were in front of you.
Who?
The infantry.
We were covering the infantry.
Aye.
And the Germans were coming across the ridge on we were firing 800 yards. That was the range of the guns. When I was told to get in touch with the brigade headquarters and get instructions. At about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there was a heavy mist fell and we got away with 3 guns. We drew back to a new position where reserve ammunition was waiting for us. And we started firing. And the first shell that fell behind me. And I got into the shell hole. And in the meantime, I'd hung my great coat on the trail of the gun of F subsection gun. And when I returned, the coat was in ribbons. And a piece of shrapnel right through my Dixie. That's what we'd use with drinking and cooking with. So we had to retire away from there again until we came to the Hun dump. And the Hun dump boasted of over £1 million worth of liquor and foodstuffs. And we arrived there on a Sunday. That was Thursday. Friday, Saturday. We arrived there on the Saturday. And on Sunday morning we had steak and kidney for our breakfast. We had plenty of food. But by 11 o'clock, Brigadier Doddridge and another gunner and I were advised that there were important articles in the dugout and we were to collect these items, you see, and move out with the battery going out of action. Well, it would be about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and that was the month of March, when Doddridge suddenly said to me, "Hey, getting on for Easter Sunday." He says, "Now, you don't know Latin." I says, "Well, what sort of Latin do you think I should know?" Well, he says, "You people go to church, but you don't understand Latin." And I said, "Well, what particular Latin are you referring to?" He said, "You couldn't say the Apostles' Creed in Latin." So I started Credo nunum Deum Patrem omnipotentem factorem celi terre visibilium ot in nomine Dominum Iesum Christum Filium Dei unigenitum et ex patrinatum ante omnes dicula Deum de Deo lumen de lumine Deum de Deo verum Deo verum genitum non factum consubstantiale patris becum omnia facta sunt who brought in this homage that brought the Norse Frenchman they bandaged me and then led me to a crossroad and he said, "Oh, where something wrong artillery." Why? And he rushed up the stairs. Coming out. This lad was standing with his Dane. He said, "Who's there?" And I told him on one of the numbers. And he said, "Out here as quick as possible. They're coming in." Canadian CCS. And from there to... And we shouted to the others. 83rd Dublin General Hospital. We got out as soon as possible. Cut across the country. They picked up a young lieutenant. The only man that kept it down. He had 3 wounded men in our battery. Had a 303 right between his eyes, lying beside the major when I arrived at the guns. on the 21st of March, the Major had what they call a pipsqueak to himself. He was dissected. His legs and arms and trunk lying in different positions. He was a handsome man. Major Lyons was his name, Major Lyons. And Sergeant Major Sloan was my sergeant major, and Sergeant Buckingham was my sergeant. So that when they asked me to take promotion on the field, I declined with thanks. I asked them to excuse me because my mother had already had enough hardships. She had 3 of us in hospital at the one time, or in action at that moment, and if her income had been touched, it would only mean extra worry for her. I would get more pay in the service, but she would be reduced automatically because I had left her half pay. I had to see that was secure, and I wouldn't have got it if I had volunteered.
Half of your pay was sent to her every month, every week?
She collected it at the torpedo factory every week. My half pay. I was done. That my wages was £1 a day in action, and she was getting half my weekly pay
at the torpedo factory.
Well, I think it was something like 10 and 6 when she got it. Half pay. I think I was getting 21 shillings at that time. My bombardier in our battery, he happened to be on the spot representing the battery or the division or the brigade when the king fell off his horse. He said the bugger was drunk. But he got his stripe as an honorary king's corporal for raising the fallen monarch. It was quite common. George V fell off his horse. And at that time, there was nothing but debauchery and horrors behind the line. And the young Prince of Wales was allowed to just degrade himself. And they all degraded themselves unless they had that particular discipline and kept away from everything that was just stinking. You had to be like that. And if you did keep yourself clean, you weren't liked for it. As Gosling made it quite evident to me when he smacked me in the face and told me I was a Bible puncher. And I said, well, that's the other cheek, Freddie. Go ahead. Any of you want entertainment, now's the time to get it. I've seen you brave men in action. I'll see you in action again and see how loyal you are to each other. You're very brave now that you've come out with the brothels or out with the estaminays. Now's the time to get your entertainment if you want it. Within 3 days I picked him up on the battlefield. The others had left him after he was wounded. And the tears were tripping him whenever I took him to the hospital. Oh, I think he would live all right. It seemed to be above the knee that he had got it, just sort of sitting there. The shrapnel would be about 2 inches in diameter, but mortifying at that particular time. If he had had another maybe hour or so lying where he was, it could have meant an amputation.
Did you ever encounter any gas while you were fighting?
Well, the gas was there continuously. We were gassed all night when we were trying. It was that particular incident I'm referring to when I found that Freddie was left behind by his colleagues. We were gassed all that night because we had to get the muzzle velocity of an 18-pounder gun. And it was taken onto such a position that it was just situated on an improvised platform, and we were beside a dugout, a sort of, I would say a ramp, a sort of ramp, where we could. But they were able to spray the troops advancing. As soon as we started firing that gun in the Ypres salient, it was circled by these. The gas was there all night. Fire. Certainly, until the following morning, some at dawn was signalled back for help, science to get the gun out where it had subsided. Everything that was fiendish sort of was performed on the battlefield. And by the time they got the 6 horses and about 6 men, that you could look for nothing else but horrific onto a solid road. Every individual cross-country onto the was mad. Popperings Road. So much so that when the major the shell fell, he was hit, and the left man didn't go. When I picked him up and got him onto a trolley, no, this is the test, and the line was blown up twice in front of me. You will have to keep there before I got into the CCS. And by that time I was assisted by a lad from over. As far as I know, there was a lot of everybody to go back violations of the moral code. Don't you realise because the gas was only one item. Yes, it started. The liquid fire was a horrible experience for them. But he says, isn't there any? Can you imagine any human being walking into a liquid spray? I don't know the people in front of me, but I know the people behind me. He says, this is a war to win wars. Well, we hope so. But I'm afraid if we live through the next 1,000 years, we'll still have that war. And he says, your enemies are behind you. I said, yes, I know them. I don't know them out there. And I'm certainly not going to lose my mental balance because I'll be in an asylum and there'll be plenty without me if I don't control myself. And I certainly can't control anything or anybody if I don't control myself. So I had food for thought.
Did you never run into any of the Germans?
Well, I met them as the prisoners. Not on a basis of aggression, like. No, I met them behind the line when they were prisoners. They were treated better than we were. I would rather be a German prisoner of war than a British soldier. It was horrible to think of what we had to contend with. Day and night, lousy and hungry, and we couldn't get food. We'd eat anything. Anything at all. How would you like to drink your own urine? How would you like to eat rats? I wouldn't like to tell you all the things that we had to contend with. But these were the people that were living in luxury behind them. There were men cut off in the no man's land for weeks. And everybody had to get up to the front line. But the people that were behind any range of the third line felt so secure. And then they had the difficulties in getting the foodstuffs up. Every man had to risk his life to get foodstuffs up to the front line. It was spectacular to see men hanging around a dixie of bully stew, bully beef. And they never knew what it was to get a potato. And they sent up carrots on one occasion to feed the horses. Needless to say, we had a feast. Lousy and hungry for 9 months on the line. Imagine how I felt when I met that major, as I told you, from the base. And he said he never saw such a scruffy lot of soldiers in his life. And he advised us that he would pay out 5 francs a head. And we were expected to buy blanco, boot polish, and look like human beings. I got my 5 francs and I went to look for something to eat. And when that man opened the door and I saw the children round the table, he wouldn't let me go away. He insisted that I would come in and get a share of what he had. And you can imagine how I felt whenever I came to Colchester Hospital after an experience like that, when I was told that I would require to go to church at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And if I didn't go to church, I was required to wash the dishes. Needless to say, I told the matron that I would neither wash the dishes nor go to church. If she had been particularly anxious about my spiritual welfare, I would have been at church before 12 o'clock. And when the doctor tore the bandage from the forearm of the man in front of me, he punched me twice in the region of the kidney. And I told him I'd knock his bloody head off. I said, I'm not an animal. I'm a British soldier. If you do that again, I'll be in for murder. That's the sort of treatment we got when we got to Colchester Hospital.
Was this a very big hospital?
It was a military hospital for the Southern Command. And the highest dignitaries are there and all the professionals. But you didn't matter one tinker's benediction, you understand. You were useless. They wanted rid of you. And they proved that when they put you through the hands of Lady Stradbroke.